Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with Sam, the Miracle Man. You'll join a captivating and transformational podcast where we'll explore the extraordinary journey of Sam, a man who overcame all odds to reclaim his life and health. Each Wednesday, Sam shares his inspiring stories of growth, health, and his journey to find wellness through self-care, mental well-being, and physical rejuvenation. We'll also have dynamic and interesting interviews with professionals in health, fitness, spirituality, and personal growth to help you on your journey to uncover the true secrets to living your best life. With just a click, you can subscribe. We will welcome you every week. Now here's your amazing host, Sam.
Hey, happy Wednesday, Miracle Makers. I hope you're feeling good and living life on your terms. So I would like to begin this week by a reminder that words have power. And I'm not a big fan of the words heal, healed, healing. There's a lot of power in those words. And if you remember the law of attraction, if you're not familiar with the law of attraction, basically it can be boiled down to what you think about, you bring about. But it's your predominant thoughts that you're thinking about. So if you're constantly thinking that you need to be healed, that you need healing, and you keep attending healing events, you're going to be locking that into place. It's almost like pushing against the wall. The harder you push, the harder you're focused on being healed or have healing, the more sticky it's going to be. Like if you remember my healing journey, if you listen to my first episode or are familiar with my story, you know I was never focused on healing. That was too big of a leap for me. I couldn't say I'm going to heal bipolar, multiple sclerosis, psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, migraines, PTSD, generalized anxiety disorder. That was too big of a leap for the mind to take. So I had no concept of healing myself. And a lot of people have this concept that they're going to heal themselves or they're going to get healing. And that becomes their predominant thought that something is wrong with them. So they're attracting more wrong into their life. Like when I was very sick, I was always focused on what else is going to go wrong. And things would go wrong because that was my predominant thought. So my predominant thought wasn't healing, that I need to be healed. That wasn't my thought. My thought was inner peace. That was my intention. I wanted inner peace. Little did I know that you can replace inner peace with your spirit, your soul, because your spirit and soul are always at peace. This is our natural state. So my intention was the natural state. So I wanted more of that, more connection to who I really am. And that was my thought. And when I work with clients, I don't mention healing. And lately, I don't even want to hear what their ailments are. That's not important. Because if you focus on your ailments and what's wrong, you're going to get more of that. It's going to amplify the story. Because most people can't say, my arm hurts, and leave it at that. They'll keep focusing on their arm hurting. Because pain is a different type of energy. You really keep focused on it, and it usually magnifies and amplify it. If we can get out of the way, the arm can take care of itself. The pain will probably diminish. But that becomes a predominant focus. So I was working with someone with cancer. We didn't talk about the cancer. Or when I was doing discovery calls, and I was talking to a woman who had all this leg pain, and the doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. I wasn't focused on getting rid of her leg pain. I was focused on bringing her into a state of inner peace. And when I did that, the leg pain went away. So she had this leg pain for months, maybe years. I don't remember now. And the doctors couldn't figure out what was going wrong with her. But that simple call, 15 minutes, I took it away because I brought into peace, her natural state. So I'm very mindful of the words that I use with people because words have power and we forget this. We get hung up on what's wrong because that's where the mind defaults into what is wrong. but we need to start to envision how we want things to be. Because I was seeing life as it is. So I was getting more life as it is. Multiple sclerosis, bipolar, psoriatic arthritis, migraines, whatever it may be, I was focusing on that. And I would get more of that. So it's a vicious loop this mind takes us on, that we're addicted to this head trash. And we're addicted to healing. And being addicted to this healing blocks our well-being. Because we're magnifying what's wrong as opposed to what's right. We're breathing, we're alive. I can move my finger. Little things. We got to focus on the little things that we can do when the body's not doing so well. Because the body can naturally heal itself if we can get out of the way, out of the narrative, out of the story that we have about this. And maybe something dire like stage 4 cancer that has metastasized. Why does that have to cause death? It may cause death, but it doesn't have to. Because they told you a narrative, a story. People only live for a month with this, 6 weeks, a year. Whatever that narrative is, it's not your truth. Only you know what your truth is, but not the mental knowing. It's a deeper knowing when you're in this place of peace, connected to all that is. But just be mindful of how you're blocking your own well-being, your own wealth. That's another thing, we really block our own wealth. I have to work hard for money. That puts a block in. You have to work harder and harder and harder to earn the same amount of money because you keep amplifying how hard it is. What happens if you say getting money is easy? And you keep focusing on that, getting money is easy, you're probably going to find you're going to get checks in the mail, you're going to find dollar bills on the street. The universe is going to deliver, because that's also the law of attraction. Whatever your predominant thoughts are, become your reality. It's this simple. The mind makes it overcomplicated, adds complexity to it. So my healing wasn't a lot of hard work. My healing was just being a place of peace, stopping the interference, breaking the story, the narrative, getting out of my own way, allowing the body to mend. The doctors could never understand what I did because it made no logical sense. Spirit doesn't work on logic, rules, any of that. The soul knows what to do. We simply need to get out of our own way and realize the same energy within us has created the stars, the planets, whatever we see is created by spirit, and we are this spirit, but we overcomplicate things. So how do we break this story? How do we change the narrative? This is going to be too simple for your mind. Your mind enjoys complexity. Your mind has that story that things are difficult, complex. It doesn't have to be this way. The way you rechange the narrative, change the script, to flip the script, is to learn to be here in this moment. Do you realize you're sitting right now, that you're listening? And if you're driving, do you realize your hands on the steering wheel? Do you hear the music? Do you see the road sign? If you're sitting in a living room, do you notice the TV, the floor, the ceiling? We have to realize the mind can either be in the story, in the narrative, or in this moment. The conscious mind cannot multitask. If you don't believe the conscious mind can multitask, on your right side, or if you're left-handed, write your name and address. And so if you're right-handed, on your right side, you write your name and address, and on your left side, you read a book at the same exact time, writing your address, reading a book, opposite sides of the body. You can't do both. Well, even if they're in front of you, you can't read and write at the same time. The conscious mind can switch tasks very quickly, but it can't multitask. The multitasker is the subconscious. So just slow things down and realize The conscious mind is trapped, is caught in my story, and is keeping me in a state, a condition that I do not want to be, whether that's being sick, whether it's being broke, whether it's having poor relationships, poor careers, whatever it may be. You can change the situation. I always say if you're alive and you're breathing, you can change things around. You can change the course, because destiny is not fixed, it's fluid. It's based on your activity right here, right now, in this moment. So, what are you doing in this moment? My practice was, or is still, mind thinking. Where are my feet? Where are my hands? What do I hear? It's a mindfulness practice. The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle. You can read that as well, about learning to be present. It's not difficult, it's not complicated. It's only your mind that makes it that way. So just learn to slow things down, that you don't need to constantly focus on what's wrong, that you need to be healed, that you're broken, that you need to be fixed. While they may be true on some aspect, don't let them become your predominant thoughts, because you don't want more of that in your life. We want to return to the state of well-being. And that's the whole point of this show, is to return back to our natural state of well-being, of breaking the narrative, breaking the story. And I had lots and lots of stories that I had to break. After being sick for 38 years, I knew everything about MS, bipolar, the medicines, and that was my predominant thoughts. If that's my predominant thoughts, what is your reality? And your reality is a direct reflection of your predominant thoughts. So if you're unhealthy, you have unhealthy thoughts. If you're broke, you're poor, you have thoughts that are keeping you that way. Your relationships don't work. Well, what's the story with that? And sometimes relationship stories are a little more difficult to understand where that's coming from. I worked with somebody in the past that had relationships issues, and I traced it back to an experience that she had at age 6. She recently moved to a different area, didn't know anyone, and couldn't participate in a dance recital because she wasn't familiar with it. But that little belief that she wasn't deserving, wasn't worthy, not good enough to do a dance recital grew to having problems with relationships because she wasn't deserving, wasn't worthy. So these little stories, as they build momentum each time, like a snowball rolling down the hill, they get larger and larger and larger. And we're not even aware of this snowball, but we learn to become present. Why does this come this way? Why am I having relationship difficulties? Why am I having health challenges? We just got to take a minute, pause, come into this moment, and find that peace within us. Then we ask, why is my health this way? And we just trust our first instinct, that first reaction that comes from this deeper place, not the mind, because the mind wants to blame, wants to look outside of itself, it doesn't want to look within to what is the real story, what is going on with you, and only you know that. No one else lives in your body. No one else knows your predominant thoughts. It's all reflection of you and what's going on in this moment. But accepting responsibility is very difficult, very challenging. I know this from my own personal experience. It was my doctor's job to fix me. So I was seeing a team of doctors, 6 doctors, all this medicine, and I wasn't getting any better because the doctors had no cure for MS or bipolar. There's no cure. But I don't have MS and bipolar anymore. So there is a cure. There's my predominant thoughts that were keeping it my reality. When I let go of those thoughts, they went away. I had this miracle healing that no one can explain. But miracles don't follow natural laws of physics, of science. They're miracles. They're unexplainable. And we all have this ability to be miracle makers, to create these miracles. When we let go of the narratives, the story, and realize we are perfect spirit, we are soul, we are consciousness. We can do all things, we can have anything, we can be anything, that we are the creator of this reality. Back to the law of attraction. Are we feeling good? Are we feeling uplifted? Are we feeling sad, depressed? Which one's going to create a better reality, a better outcome? Of course, feeling good, feeling happy, enjoying life. Feeling sad, feeling down will keep a miserable existence going, if you will. And sometimes it's hard to turn that sadness around, that depression. That's one of the things that bothers me. When people say, oh, just let it go, snap out of it. It's not that simple at times. The mind can really grab you into that story. And it takes a little bit of unlearning how to get out of that story, that when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling depressed, you got to learn what changes that mood. Is watching your favorite TV show, listening to your favorite band and music, watching a play, painting, going to museums. What is that thing for you that's going to change your mood? Only you can know that answer. So you do that. You learn to monitor your mood. You learn to see what makes you laugh, enjoy life. Because you can't be enjoying life and be depressed. It doesn't work that way. You just have to learn what works for you. You are the master of your domain, this body. You are the creator of this reality. There's no one to blame. And that's very hard at times, not to blame anyone, to realize my predominant thoughts are creating my reality. Do I feel good, uplifted? Or am I the other spectrum? If you're feeling the other spectrum and you're having some difficulties, you can always reach out to me or a bunch of other teachers. You can watch videos. There's resources out there. You don't have to go it alone. And sometimes it's hard to ask for help. So you start to explore. You start watching some of these head trash clearing videos that I have. Because the head trash is simply that narrative that we're taking as our truth. And we're addicted to this narrative, this story. But it doesn't have to be this way. Just trust yourself. And that's a big ask for many of you, is to trust yourself. You've always been taught to doubt yourself. This too is a narrative, a story. We need to break this cycle, and you have the power to do this. Only you can do this. So take good care of you. Have a good week.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Wellness Wednesdays with Sam, the Miracle Man. And we hope you'll continue to discover the power of resilience and the steps we can all take to create our own miracles while on our bumpy path to well-being. But just remember, be present, find clarity, and also subscribe so we can all continue to share this life-changing journey together. See you next Wednesday.